The electric vehicle landscape has grown significantly recently, with numerous automakers offering EV models. In 2012, EVs like the Tesla Model S and Nissan Leaf were novel, but today the US market is teeming with EVs from various manufacturers like Ford, Volkswagen, Hyundai, Kia, and Volvo. China has many electric car brands and models, and in Europe, PSA Group and Stellantis offer a wide range of electric car options. Even Toyota, traditionally focused on hydrogen fuel cell technology, is showing interest in EVs. But is EV technology the way to go? Or are electric cars really just another scam? Electric car enthusiasts often dismiss skeptics as people who are resistant to progress. However, making a product less efficient and more expensive doesn't exactly scream innovation. Many of the features that EV manufacturers tout as groundbreaking have been present in gas-powered cars for generations. In reality, if EVs deliver on their promises, they represent more of a sideways shift in technology than a true leap forward. In the United States, there isn't so much a real emerging market for EVs as there is a government-driven effort to support them. This support includes government purchases, marketing, state subsidies, favoritism, loans backed by taxpayers, and mandates. The push for a green revolution seems to be led by elites and technocrats rather than naturally emerging from the market. It's becoming increasingly evident that major car companies are heavily invested in EVs because the government is pledging to artificially limit the production of gas-powered vehicles. President Joe Biden's 2021 executive order aims to have half of all new vehicles sold in 2030 be zero-emission. California plans to ban combustion engines in new cars in about a decade. Car manufacturers are adjusting their business models to comply with these incentives and the envisioned future markets created by government policies. But is this the way to go, or is there a more sinister plan controlling this shift to EVs? In the current economic landscape, Ford anticipates a $3 billion loss on electric vehicles in 2023, adding up to $5.1 billion in EV losses over 2 years. Reports suggest that in 2021, Ford was losing $34,000 on each EV produced, and this year that figure escalated to over $58,000 per EV. Under normal circumstances, one would expect Ford to reduce its EV production rather than expand it, considering these losses. And it should be worth remembering these financial aspects when considering potential bailouts for automakers. But interestingly, the US Energy Department recently granted Ford, a company experiencing substantial losses on every EV sold, a $9.2 billion loan for a South Korean battery project. This move seems unconventional, as it's doubtful that any rational bank would take such a risk. Moreover, the cost of EV batteries has increased in recent years. Ford justifies these upfront losses by invoking a startup mentality. However, some experts argue that we continue to treat EVs as a novel concept rather than recognizing their shortcomings. However, climate concerns and a misplaced glorification of EVs still contribute to public acceptance of this kind of financial expenditure. In 2019, after General Motors shut down a plant in Lordstown, Ohio, then-President Donald Trump publicly pressured the company to address the issue. GM provided $40 million to Lordstown Motors, a new EV company, for plant retrofitting, and Ohio granted GM an additional $60 million. Lordstown received widespread positive media attention, especially after President Biden signed his Buy American executive order, pledging to replace the entire U.S. federal fleet with EVs, which led to a surge in Lordstown's stock value. However, as of the beginning of this year, Lordstown Motors had only produced a total of 31 vehicles, with 6 sold to actual consumers, most of which were eventually recalled. The company's stock was trading at just around $1, and tech funding giant Foxconn had withdrawn its $170 million investment. Shortly after, Lordstown filed for bankruptcy. Without substantial state assistance, electric vehicles remain a market niche appealing to affluent individuals seeking to showcase their environmental consciousness. Even with government support, a study from the University of California at Berkeley revealed that 90% of tax credits for EVs benefit people in the highest income brackets. The majority of EV buyers are high-income earners who appreciate the aesthetics and experience of driving a Tesla or similar vehicle. While there's nothing wrong with personal preference, the issue lies in subsidizing these choices with taxpayer funds. Choosing a reliable, cost-effective, and versatile gasoline-powered car for middle-class families often makes more sense. Gas-powered vehicles are readily fueled, offer the flexibility to drive long distances, and perform well in various conditions throughout the year. The world possesses an abundant and efficient energy source in fossil fuels which can be accessed inexpensively and conveniently. Climate activists may argue that EVs are essential to combat climate change, but even by their standards, the value of EVs remains debatable. Most EVs still rely on energy generated from fossil fuels, and the environmental benefits of manufacturing EVs are minimal if they exist. If EVs were genuinely more efficient and cost-effective, consumers would willingly adopt them, and manufacturers would produce them without the need for incentives or government intervention. Electric vehicles have been glorified as more cost-effective and environmentally friendly alternatives. That may be true in the short term because EVs have fewer moving parts and require less maintenance than internal combustion engine vehicles, making them more efficient and profitable to manufacturers. However, the transition to electric vehicles also has the potential to create economic turmoil within the automotive industry. If a sudden and massive shift towards electric cars were to occur, it could have wide-reaching effects on various parts of the economy, from manufacturing to employment. And there's one point that I think people keep forgetting about: demand and supply. Let's get one thing straight, but I'd love to see your comments on this, so make sure you air your views. Electricity is not immune to the demand and supply curve. So as demand goes up, the price also goes up, and the supply goes down. There's a lot of investment in increasing superchargers, but there's no similar investment in energy production. So what happens when the energy needed for all these EVs isn't equal to the energy being produced? Now, how many of you know about Bitcoin mining? It's been banned in many countries due to the amount of energy these processes need. I believe this should count when gauging the energy production capacity of any country. The increasing demand for electricity from electric vehicles, especially during peak charging times, can strain the grid. This challenge necessitates investments in grid infrastructure, including upgrading transmission and distribution systems and potentially building new power generation facilities. Renewable energy sources like solar and wind are valuable for reducing the carbon footprint of electric vehicle charging. Still, large-scale dams and nuclear power plants may be necessary to provide consistent and reliable power for EVs, especially in regions with high electricity demand. Tesla's supercharger network, which reportedly utilizes solar power, may be a step towards sustainability. However, it's important to consider that even with renewable energy sources, the overall capacity and reliability of the grid must be addressed. The transition to electric vehicles is not just about the cars themselves, but also involves a comprehensive overhaul of the supporting infrastructure, societal changes, and economic effects. The scenario of a rapid and widespread adoption of electric cars raises questions about how industries, economies, and societies will adapt to such a significant transformation. While EVs offer environmental benefits, their disruptive potential poses economic challenges that need to be carefully managed and considered in the transition to cleaner transportation solutions. The transition to electric cars has profound implications for economies, industries, and societies. So while electric vehicles may seem to offer significant environmental benefits, their adoption on a massive scale can disrupt the established economic and industrial structures. A sudden and complete shift to electric vehicles could have far-reaching consequences in economies heavily reliant on the automotive sector. Jobs related to the maintenance and design of internal combustion engine vehicles may need to be updated, leading to unemployment in those sectors. This kind of transition has historical parallels, such as the disappearance of gas lamplighters and the decline of industries tied to outdated technologies. The economic balance and stability of the world's economy are delicate and interconnected. Mass production of electric cars with fewer employees could disrupt this balance, potentially leading to economic turmoil. It would have ripple effects throughout various industries, supply chains, and sectors. The automotive industry is a significant part of many economies, and if it were its own country, it would rank among the world's largest economies. Therefore, any major shift within this industry can have significant repercussions. The transition to electric cars go beyond the economic aspect and affects political dynamics and cultural norms. It can shift the balance of power in developed countries and impact political systems. Governments, industries, and societies must carefully manage this transition and ensure that it leads to positive outcomes and avoids destabilizing consequences. Electric vehicle adoption is a complex and multifaceted challenge that requires thoughtful planning, investment, and adaptation across various sectors. It underscores the need for a comprehensive approach that considers the environmental benefits and the broader economic and societal impacts of such a transformation. And as we've seen, there's more to the transition than people are actually talking about. Anyway, that's all from this video. What do you think about EVs? And do you think that pure EV transition is the way to go? Comment below and please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.